Hi, welcome to the CrafteeManatee. Today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this mini herb bag that you can use to dry herbs like mint or anything in your garden. Before we get started, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel and share this pattern with a friend who you think would enjoy learning how to crochet their own mini herb bag. Here are the materials that you're going to need for today's video. You're going to need about 5 grams of yarn in fingering weight in 3 different colors. So just a very small amount of each color of yarn of your choice. We will be using a 2.25 millimeter crochet hook or the letter B. And finally, we will need scissors and a tapestry needle for tucking in yarn tails at the end. To get started, we need to make 2 granny squares. You can choose your granny squares to match or be different. I meant to grab the blue yarn when I was working this one, so they are slightly different, but I don't mind how that's going to look on either side. So I'm sticking with it. So go ahead and make 2 granny squares. I'm going to insert a tutorial in the next step. So if you already know how to make a granny square, feel free to skip ahead to the end to see how to assemble our bag. But if you don't, make sure to just keep watching and I will walk you through step by step how to crochet one of these granny squares. And even if you do not know how to make one already, sometimes it can be fun just to follow along while someone counts it out for you so you don't have to think too hard about it. But I'll meet you back here once we have the 2 granny squares complete. And make sure for one of them you keep a long yarn tail for sewing in the final color. To get started, go ahead and grab your starting yarn color. In my case, I'm going to start with pink. And we're going to go ahead and make a slip knot and then chain 4. So we will start with this chain 4 and then slip stitch to the first chain that we made to close up that ring. And now we have this ring created, and that is what we're going to work everything into for this first round. So it can be a little bit difficult to see, but we do want to keep the center of that chain 4 nice and open. So we're going to go ahead and chain 6, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to work 3 double crochet stitches into the center of that chain 4. So we will work 3 double crochet stitches, 1, 2, and 3. And then we will chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then we will work another 3 double crochet stitches as another cluster here, 2 and 3. And then we will chain 3. These chain 3s are going to become the corners for our granny square. And now we will work another cluster, so 3 double crochet stitches, 2 and 3. And now chain 3 for a corner. And now the next step is just a little bit different because we already have that chain 6 that we started this round with. And that chain 6 is going to count as a double crochet and a chain 3. So we will go ahead and work just 2 double crochet stitches. We have 1 and 2. And then we will slip stitch into the third chain here to secure. And as you can see, that pulls those stitches together. So it looks just like a normal cluster that we've been working. And then we're going to work a slip stitch into the chain 3 space to keep everything lined up at the corners. So now we can go ahead and grab our second yarn color to move on to round 2. I went ahead and grabbed this blue yarn as my second yarn color, and we can attach it and then chain 6 to start this round. So 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we can pull those yarn tails tight just to make sure that everything is nice and secure and it makes sense where we are working. So now in that same chain 3 space that we worked the slip stitch of the previous round in, so this first space here, we are going to work 3 double crochet stitches. So we have 1, 2, and 3. And then we will chain 1. This is going to be for the sides. And then in this chain 3 corner space, we are going to work 3 double crochet stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we will chain 3 and work 3 double crochet stitches into the same chain 3 space that we worked that last cluster in. So this is just expanding the corners with all of those stitches. And now we will chain 1 for the side and work 3 double crochet stitches in the next chain 3 space. So 2 and 3. And then chain 3 and work 3 double crochet stitches into that same chain 3 space to form the corner. And now we are onto a side, so we will chain 1 and then work another corner cluster in the next chain 3 space. So that corner cluster will always be this 3 double crochet stitches and then chain 3 and 3 more double crochet stitches, all in that corner space. And then once we're finished with this, we will go ahead and chain 1 for the edge. And then we have reached the beginning of the round. So we're going to go ahead and work just 2 double crochet stitches into the first chain 3 space that we worked our first cluster in from this round. So we are working 2, and that helps complete the corner stitches for this starting corner. And then we will slip stitch into the third chain of the starting chain that we made, and then slip stitch into the chain 3 space to line up the corner. And now we can go ahead and move on to round 3, which is going to be our final round for this size granny square. So I'm going to go ahead and use this green yarn as my third color. So I'm going to attach it and then chain 6 to start out this round, just like the other rounds. And then pull on these yarn tails to make everything nice and secure. And then I'm going to work 3 double crochet stitches into the first chain 3 space. This is the same space that we slip stitched in to end our last round. So everything is nice and even there. And now we are going to chain 1 because we are on a side stitch. But now we have this next chain 1 space from the previous round, so we won't be working a corner cluster in that chain 1 space. Instead, we are going to just work 3 double crochet stitches into that chain 1 space. And then once we're done with that, we will chain 1 again to line up with the cluster of the previous round. And now we are onto a corner, which means that we are going to work our corner cluster, which is 3 double crochet stitches, and then a chain 3, 2 and 3, and then 3 more double crochet stitches, all in that corner space. And once we're done with that, we are on to an edge. So we will chain 1 and then work 3 double crochet stitches into the chain 1 space of the previous round. So we have 2 and 3, and then chain 1 again, and now work a corner cluster. So we have a 1, 2, and 3 double crochet stitches, and then chain 3, and then 3 more double crochet stitches into that chain 3 corner space. And now we are coming up on another edge here. So we will chain 1 and work 3 double crochet stitches in this chain 1 space, 2 and 3, and then chain 1 and work a corner cluster in the chain 3 space that is next. So we have the 3 double crochet stitches, chaining 3, and then 3 more double crochet stitches, all in that corner space. And then we're on our final edge here, so we will chain 1 and work 3 double crochet stitches, 2 and 3 into that chain 1 space, and then chain 1 again. And we've come to the beginning of the round. So what we're going to do is work 2 double crochet stitches into that chain 3 space that we started the round in. So we're working those stitches, and then slip stitch into the top of that chain, right in the center of it, and then slip stitch down into the corner space. And that is our granny square complete. Once we have completed those 2 granny squares, we are going to start sewing them together. So we're going to put the wrong sides facing each other. That is going to be the inside of our bag. And then we will take that long yarn tail and sew the sides together. So all I'm going to be doing is working a loop stitch. I believe it's called the whip stitch. I don't do a lot of sewing, so I'm not sure if that's exactly what it's called. But what I'm doing is looping the yarn over and inserting the needle through the opposite side that it's currently coming out of, so it creates a loop, and then pulling through, and you can see how that yarn loops and cinches shut. So I'm going to just do this all the way around. It also does make a pretty nice border. It looks almost intentionally raised, almost like a reverse single crochet stitch, but it is just a loop stitch. So we are going to do that. I said all the way around, but it's really just 3 edges because we want that opening to be open, of course, so that we can put our herbs inside. So go ahead and work this stitch on 3 sides, leaving the 4th side open. That will be our top. And I'll meet you back here to add on the drawstrings. All right, to create the drawstring clasp, we are going to take 3 yarn strands and thread them through our needle here. And these yarn strands are probably about a foot-ish is probably all you really need. It just needs to be able to wrap around and then have a little left over. But I always like to err on the side of having too much than too little. And what we're going to do is just sew around the entire top of the bag, but we want to start where we want the drawstring to be centered, if that makes sense. So we're going to start right here, just to the left of our granny square, and then we'll work all the way around, ending just to the right of the center here. So what I'm going to do is just insert through the chain 1 spaces of this top round here. So we are just inserting in and out to create a very loose stitch around, and that is it. That is our simple drawstring, and I'm actually going to insert this back through the front here in the center. It should be coming through the front there. So let me just pop that through. Just a little adjustment. You just need to make sure that those yarn tails are sticking out the front here. And now all I'm going to do is tie each side in a knot. You want to make sure everything is open, not pulled tight when you do this though. And we're going to work 3 overhand knots all on top of each other. So now that I have the length set, I will pull that tight just to get it out of the way. But we're working these 3 overhand knots so that it is more difficult to pull through and it won't be done on accident. So we will do that on the other side as well. I'll tie my 3 knots all on top of each other. And now we can go ahead and cut these tassels here. We'll just cut them about 1 inch or so below the knots. You can choose to fray yours if you would like. I do like the look of a frayed tassel, but this yarn does not fray very well based on how it's constructed. So it's totally up to you. And now to cinch the bag shut, all you have to do is pull those 2 yarn tails and your little herb bag is secure. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed learning how to crochet your own mini herb bag. If you did, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more crochet patterns and tutorials. Thanks for watching. Bye.